I'm on my way to the Bickerton Poacher campsite. It's one that's been recommended to me by Brian Jones. I was having some problems sort of working out which campsite to go to, specifically finding one open that I like the look of. I found one site, it's level ground, you know what I mean, it's just a flat field. But Brian pointed out that this one, the Bickerton Poacher, has good showers, good toilets, nice pub, good food. I've had a look at the menu. Yeah, it does look pretty good, as it happens. Bring in my newest tent. It's a Mountain Cattle one-man tent, single skin tent as well. It's very light, weighs 1 kilogram. Really, when I look at lighter and lighter tents, you're usually looking at having to pay more and more money because the technology is quite sophisticated, I suppose. So I think there's the MSR that they want about £350 for a tent that weighs about 1 kilogram. This one cost me £55, and it was a Christmas present and off my brother. It packs up small. It's in my rucksack, and alongside it there is me Trekology airbed, me self-inflating pillow, and a couple of tarpaulin ground sheets. Single skin, I'm kind of thinking whatever it is that I do, the inside of the tent is going to get covered in condensation. But I've also been looking at like bivy bags, and when you see them in the advert, you know, the picture of them, they look like fairly solid type thing with kind of comes around a nice big wall and everything. They're nothing like that. If you go and watch YouTube videos on how to use those bivvies, they're basically just a bag. You know, I like to watch movies and listen to music, so we need a little bit more space than what you would get in one of those bivvies. I do like the look of the Dutch Army hooped bivvy. That's about £170. Not really sure I want to spend that kind of money at all, to be fair. So, because it's a single skin and because it's so small, I've been careful to bring this tent along only when I think it's going to be a dry day. Not so bothered if it rains through the night, but I definitely want a dry sort of spell to get the tent set up. I'm also not sure about what I'm supposed to do with my biking gear. The reason why I brought sort of 2 ground sheets is I'm thinking put my jacket and trousers along the bottom of the tent, put a ground sheet over it, and then put my airbed on top. Probably put my crash helmet in the top box, and my tank bag will have to come in the tent with me, and my boots will have to come in the tent with me. Certainly not going to leave them out in the rain. Assuming it's going to rain tonight, as it happens. This road, it's the only sort of country lane-ish road I could find on my route to this site. It runs past Peckforton Castle and Beeston Castle. They're both on separate hills, but not that far apart. It brings me out right by the pub, so right by the campsite. Facilities do look good. Brian's right on that. They do look pretty good. The outside area of the pub looks okay. Looks quite big, and they do a carvery on Sunday. They do a breakfast in the morning, and they have really quite a good menu. If I do go in there, I'm going to go in and try the black pudding stack, and I'll try the stew with dumplings. Those are the things I've got in my mind. But I have brought food. I brought 3 tuna mayo sandwiches. I'm a usual box with powdered soup and powdered tea and powdered coffee and porridge. So I'm not going to go short of something to eat, but I do fancy going in the pub and having one of their meals. The bike's handling okay. I'm kind of, yeah, I'm good. Low speed stuff is still a little bit awkward, but you know, I've been off the bike for a long time. Probably have to take myself off to a car park somewhere and have a ride around in circles and what have you. There's one down the road from me. It's got some tight islands to go around, as well as it just being a plain car park. So I can practice it and I can get better at it. So that'll be something I'll be doing as sort of time goes on. Other than that, I'm just really looking at increasing my distances. Today is not going to increase any riding distance at all. It's only about 20-25 miles away from home, and I stopped to get some petrol. So from the petrol station to the campsite is only about 18 miles. So we're not really talking about increasing distances on this ride. I was a bit surprised about the cost of the petrol though. I'd only done 133 miles, so technically you'd be looking at what, 12 or 13 litres, and it comes to 26 bloody quid. Don't know what's happened while my back was turned, but that's a hell of a bloody price for filling your tank up when it wasn't even close to empty anyway. I think once we get into March, I'll find it easier to find campsites. Most of them are shut in February. Hadley Park, for example, shuts. It doesn't open until you get into March. So I think from now on, I'll find it a lot easier to find campsites. And I think probably the reason why it's so difficult to find a campsite, it might be because of so much rain that we've been having lately, and it might be the ground is just soaking wet, because on my way here I've been looking over the hedges and fields, and there are quite a lot of flooded fields. I imagine if you put a tent down on sodden grass, you're probably going to ruin it for the summer. Did find a campsite actually quite close to home though, with a fishing lake on it and a big manor house and a cafe. That's on my radar so as we move into spring and summer. Nights camping there might not be such a bad idea at all. There we are. Bickerton Poacher. Let's go and park my bike, I think, and then I've got to check in. I'm sure the check-in process is going to be fairly straightforward, just wander in and tell him who I am, because I can't for the life of me imagine there's going to be anybody else on this campsite apart from me. So it should be fairly straightforward. Just go and pitch your tent where you want, effectively. Well, that check-in was fairly straightforward. The systems weren't working. We faffed around to try and get them going for a little bit and then decided, you know what? There's not going to be many people camping here tonight, so just go and get yourself settled in, pitched. Don't worry about it. What I was told was just be a little bit careful riding onto the grass. He says it's a little bit wet. He doesn't think it's that bad, but he just said be careful as you go on. So I've had a walk down, had a look at it, and as I go into the field, there's a nice little spot. Looks fairly sheltered. It's on a little bit of a slope, but I think I can cope with that. I'm going to take no chances. I'm just going to ride straight in, turn the bike around, roll it up the hill, and then stop and leave it. Means I'll be able to roll it backwards in the morning and turn it to face the exit. Just make life a little bit easier for me, and it means that less chance of me just sort of slithering it on wet grass and standing there sort of, what the hell am I going to do now? Because I don't think I can pick that bike up with my disc the way that it is.